Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to the Crypto Mining Morning Show. Hope you're having a wonderful New Year's Eve. You're ready for the new year. Excuse the noises in the background. Somebody's opening a door, and I have a bell as part of the alarm system that pops off on it. It is what it is. The kids are home. We've been talking about that. It just makes things a little bit more difficult. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about a new release. We have a new miner that just launched, LOLMiner version 1.39. We have basically some information to talk about with Bitfarms raising $100 million through Galaxy Digital. We are also going to be talking about strange behavior on proof of work networks as presented by Oh God, a Girl on Twitter. And then on top of that, we will be covering, of course, our traditional mining profitability coverage in both the GPU market as well as the ASIC market. And I have been pretty busy at the farm the past couple days, staying as late as 3 a.m. Not last night, night before last night. Last night staying as late as like 1 a.m., adding on new rigs, reconfiguring, getting footage, because we do have some vlogs coming out surrounding that. So we're going to talk about that as well. But before we get into it, let's go ahead and cover the sponsor or the partner for today, which is going to be GamerSupps. And I am drinking one of their delicious mixes over here. This is the watermelon ice in a clear container, which works great with green screens. So let's go ahead and hop into the ad. Today's video is brought to you in partnership with GamerSupps. GamerSupps provides a healthy alternative to sugary energy drinks with delicious flavors like Misfits Melon or my favorite Blue Raz. I use the GamerSupps as an alternative to support my active lifestyle outside of content creation. Caffeine-free options are great for late-night gaming after the kids have gone to bed. And my favorite part about GamerSupps is that they accept cryptocurrency. And for a limited time, when you purchase a tub with cryptocurrency, you will receive a Bitcoin shaker. Follow the affiliate link in the description. And don't forget to use code SOAT at checkout. All right, welcome back. So first things first, let's go ahead and hop into the patch notes for LOLMiner version 1.39. So this launched 7 hours ago. I will be trying to get it up and running at least on my non-light or my light hash rate rig and give you guys an idea if there's any improvements there. And we've actually reconfigured one rig to only utilize the light hash rate GPUs that I do own. Here are the feature changes. Added support for mining TON. Use algo switch TON to mine it. Developer fee is 1.5%. AMD cards since GCN1 via OpenCL and NVIDIA cards Maxwell and newer generation via CUDA are supported. Added support for mining Ubique. Use the UBQ hash. Ubique's been around for a while. To mine it, the fee is 0.7%, as with all ETH hash based coins. Now, Ubique was pretty much essentially just utilizing ETH hash. It looks like they have changed their algorithm, which means, well, that how to mine Ubique video from 5 years ago is going to need to be updated to the new version, I suppose. It probably needed an update anyways. Ubique was a project that was actually pretty interesting that I believe Bitsby Trippin was pretty hot on in the 2016 to 2018 age, I guess, bull run. So it's kind of cool that there's some improvements there or some changes going on with the hash rate hash rate algorithm. I'll be curious to go ahead and check that out at some point. Added support for routing your Stratum traffic through a SOCKS 5 proxy server. Use SOCKS 5 to enable it. Note, at the moment, this does not work with HTTPS traffic, as in the TON algorithm. They will work on that, is what they say. So here's the fixes. Added a timeout for DOH requests, so they can no longer hang indefinitely. And fixed ET hash support for the RX 5500 series GPUs on more recent drivers. Notes about the ton or ton, I don't know, ton or ton. I guess it would be ton pool connection. At the moment, only the HTTPS pool communication protocol is supported. Therefore, your pool address must start with HTTPS. This protocol is not ideal for mining, but we will work on establishing a real stratum protocol with some pools in the near future. Stay tuned. Note, when using a pool address starting with HTTPS, specifying a port is optional. The default 443 is used when not specifying one. Also, when mining ton via HTTPS, LOLMiner automatically uses TLS 1.2 encryption with skipped host name verification. As a final notice, always make sure your ton pool either does not need miner wallet registration or you are registered. Many popular pools require to register your wallet and address to mine it. Notes about ton performance and tuning. With regard to tuning for ton, the algorithm needs core, and more core. Therefore, this is interesting. Therefore, maximizing the core clock within the limits of your cooling and energy supply is key for ideal performance. It might be beneficial to reduce the core voltage to produce less heat and less energy consumption. This way, the cards keep more distance to their thermal limits and can often clock higher as well. We recommend this algorithm for your AMD RX 6000 cards. Holy moly, guys, this is actually super exciting. I want to take a look at ton now, or TON. I don't even know what that is. So, and what's interesting is that it is core performance, and obviously they're recommending the RX 6000 series because of that core performance. You could also probably see performance increases or good performance out of the NVIDIA GPUs. It's going to be fun to play with regardless of essentially your opinion on whatever the project is from a technical perspective, because like we always say previously, you know, the only thing that really matters is going to be your memory clock. Well, apparently, as far as this new algorithm and coin goes, it's actually going to be core clock, and so we're going to have something different and kind of new to play with here, and should actually make the mining review videos more interesting than they have been in the past. Now, obviously, it sounds like I'm having some issues with kiddos in the background. I may have to go help mama out here in just a second. I'll wait and see if she pings me, but apologies if there's any bleed through there. It's part of being a parent, so it is what it is. But that's definitely super cool. I actually might start Googling it here at the end and see what's going on with it, because I have never heard of it. Actually, let's go ahead and hop into it right now. I don't even want to know how to mine it. I want to know what it is, but let's go ahead and look if the internet will work here. Read the full article on Medium. Does he give us an overview? Okay, so it's the open network. Let's see. These are ton apps. There is a mining calculator up now. Here we go. So here's the price. $3.73. Is this the official website? Here we go. Ton is a third-generation proof-of-stake blockchain designed in 2018 by the Durov brothers, the founders of Telegram Messenger. Later, it was handed over to our Open Ton community, which has been supporting and developing it ever since. Okay. So but they do have mining, are distributed via a special giver smart contract, which uses proof of work mechanism. That way, by checking proofs, we can estimate how much computational power is used for coin extraction. Then how to mine. Here's the quick guide. Now, obviously, we can now mine it with something else. With LOLMiner. What did they originally... They had their own miner, it looks like here. Oh, this documentation's pretty good. So they got all the information. I'm going to deep dive this later, guys, and we'll get a video out on this project here. It looks promising, seeing that it was originally started by the Telegram dudes. And I definitely want to throw on I want to throw a rig on this for sure. What exchanges are they on? Let's see if that info is here. All right, exchanges: FTX, OKEX, EXMO, WalletBot, Neo Crypto, PancakeSwap, Uniswap, CryptoBot, Dodo, and Gate.io. Okay. And then you can mine and stake as well. Cool. All right. A new project to look into that we found out through basically the new LOLMiner version 1.39. So that's really neat. I think I'm excited for this one. New year, new coin, sort of new coin to take a look at. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about Bitfarms and more Bitcoin mining coming to the network. This one's interesting because we've been talking about kind of the rise in like ASICs and institutional investment into ASICs. This is at least within the crypto space. But by that I mean as far as like the way they're generating the loans, etc. That being said, it is making it very difficult for the smaller miners that are typically like GPU miners to get into ASICs at all. If you started early enough, Bitsby Trippin was able to make a shift into purchasing quite a few ASICs, but he's been doing this longer than anybody else, meaning that he had the most capital to get into it. But even at the size he's at, it's really hard to compete on the network with companies like this. But miner Bitfarms raises 100 million Bitcoin backed loan with Galaxy Digital. The miner has already made an initial $60 million drawdown with a 6-month term at an interest rate of 10.75%. I slept in too late. It's hard. We're going to get to talking soon. Bitcoin miner Bitfarms secured a $100 million credit facility with blockchain and cryptocurrency financial services provider Galaxy Digital Holdings. The facility is backed by the company's Bitcoin holdings. The Toronto-based miner has already drawn down $60 million at an interest rate of 10.75% per year with a 6-month term and expects to draw more over the next few months, according to a statement. Quote, "Our new $100 million BTC credit facility adds another component to our diversified financing strategy and contributes a significant non-dilutive capital to fund our global growth initiatives, which include 4 farms with 298 megawatts mining capacity under construction," end quote, says CFO Jeff Lucas. Bitfarms intends to use the funds to reach a hash rate of 3 exahash per second by March 31st and 8 exahash a second by December 31st of 2022. The miner said it has over 3,300 Bitcoins in its treasury currently. On December 1st, the company said it minted 339 Bitcoins in November, down from the 343 in October as network difficulty increased. It reached a hash rate of 2 exahash in mid-November. Prior to Bitfarms, Galaxy Digital had already loaned at least $65 million to public mining companies this year, according to a report by Compass Mining. Oh man. So one of the things that I've talked about on this channel before is like not investing what you're not willing to lose, as well as not purchasing cryptocurrency mining hardware on credit. And part of the reasoning behind that is because I feel like offering advice that says, yeah, go all in and grab, you know, your mining equipment on credit would be ill-advised, especially at like smaller levels for GPU miners and such. If we hit like something like a bear market and then, you know, you're not making enough, or the power costs start to rise and it makes it unprofitable for you, and you're stretched trying to pay off a credit card bill. Now, in the case of large companies investing this amount, they're obviously backing it with the Bitcoin that they already have. It is interesting though, because a lot of people are starting to feel like we're getting ready to hit a bear market pretty much right around the same time that they would be upgrading to 3 exahash per second, right in that March time frame. And what does this mean? Does this mean that maybe they don't expect a bear market? Do they just think they're going to be able to increase past that? I don't really know. It's interesting to see a lot of people, a lot of these large mining farms investing so heavily right at this time when hardware is at its peak, difficulties at its peak, and we are starting to see the profitability drop off on the actual miners themselves. I don't know. That's kind of what I'm seeing as far as like all of this goes. Does it mean that we aren't going to hit a bear market? Because one of the things that we are aware of that you should keep in mind is that miners directly influence the entire cryptocurrency market. The Bitcoin supercycle is based directly on the halving of Bitcoin. So when we see these huge bull runs, what precedes the huge bull runs every single time? It is the halving. Why does the halving precede the huge bull runs? Well, it precedes it because essentially the miners now need to increase the price of Bitcoin to accommodate for receiving half of the reward that they did previously. And that is kind of why you always see that same cycle every 4 years, right after the basically halving of Bitcoin. So if you have a whole bunch of large institutional investors, large mining companies investing super heavily into mining at any given time, it may mean, you know, good news for the cryptocurrency market in general. It's going to be a lot less likely that all of these newly minted Bitcoins are going to go onto the market at a loss. And so you know, you can see some positives in there, like I said, because miners influence the market. That is another key point that I wanted to bring up for Ethereum and the move to proof of stake. There are rumors floating around, of course, that we have large mining farms influencing Ethereum developers to delay proof of work or modify or adjust proof of work to not fully go away post-merge. These are all rumors, but it kind of makes sense with, like I said, the influence of miners. And I'm curious to see where that heads in the future. Do I think that we are going to see a delay past June of 2022 for the merge? Not necessarily, but do I think that we may still have some form of proof of work available to miners post-merge? Well, that may be something that would be more possible. I will say this, though, before anything, I should correct the previous statement. Do I think there will be a delay? past June 2022. There's no evidence that there will be a delay of the merge past June of 2022 at this time for ETH 2.0 and the merge, etc. Does that mean there won't be a delay? No. Historically, and the joke that I've always said, right, is that Ethereum proof of stake or the Ethereum merge is basically indefinitely delayed 2 years, right? So the key word there being indefinitely and then delayed 2 years. So the closer we get, we'll see if they go ahead and move that difficulty bomb further and further. We've talked about this in more detail in other videos. So if you want to see how to track it on ETH Magicians, for example, then definitely go check that video out. But it's BitsBee Trippin' in the chat, guys. The OG of miners, cryptocurrency miners. Make sure you guys go give him a follow. I'm going to post his link. Or look, Bits, you're a mod. Post your own link. Make sure you guys go subscribe to BitsBee Trippin's channel. I saw that new camera, bro. It looks sick. Let's go ahead and talk about... Maybe Bits can help here. Oh God, a girl posting a thread on proof of work networks and some odd behavior that's going on within the proof of work networks. So this is going to be interesting. Let's go ahead and take a look. All right, so we're seeing some really odd behavior on proof of work networks this close to the new year. Figured I'd make a thread on what we found for awareness and also to showcase how interesting looking at the bigger picture can be. First, Firo. Someone gave a heads up that there was a giant surge of hash rate, and a surge indeed, 2.8 terahash worth, when it's normally sitting around 200 gigahash. Now that's a huge jump from 2.8 terahash to 200 gigahash. Could it be an ASIC, an FPGA? Doubtful, but there's one easy way to tell. Let's go surfing for some other networks. So here's the picture for here. As you can see, you see a huge, on December 29th, a huge increase to 2.8 terahash a second. That's going to be odd. Normally, if it was hash rate moving from one coin to another, you'd see hash rate moving off. Take a peek at Ethereum, all is quiet and steady. So you can go ahead and she has basically Firo network hash rate pulled up, and then over here, the ETH network hash rate. Everything looks normal on ETH. Nothing moved off of ETH. Because a lot of what's going on here when we're taking a look at difficulty is we're trying to see if any large farms are trying to move to another network, possibly, right? So at least from my perspective, I'm like, when we're taking a look at the difficulty charts, like during our morning live streams, it's like, well, is there a huge hash rate drop off? A couple terahash dropping off of ETH and moving, to some other coin. And if they did it boost the difficulty up so much that it's not going to be profitable? Or was it successful? Was a large farm or a large operation able to move a majority of their hash rate to a new coin and remain profitable? So taking a look at Ravencoin, a little choppy ocean, but still relatively calm. So you can see here, Ravencoin, nothing, all that. So there's the comments on Ravencoin for you. Not a peep out of Ethereum Classic either. So there you go. There's the chart. Then we take a peek at Cadena. I still need to learn to pronounce this. Hang on. 55 petahash a second to 646 petahash a second. This is most likely the gold shell miner being tested out. Remember, we have that new gold shell KD6, I believe it is. Let me scroll up here. Yeah, KD6 launching soon. KD5 is out at 18 terahash a second. 26.3 terahash a second is what the new KD6 will be launched at. So that is what we're assuming at this point, is that they're being tested out, and that's possible, right? I don't know how you would, it's pretty crazy increase though. So there's that. And there's that spike to 646. All right. Then we see this weird algorithm called Octopus that has about 1 terahash that moves off right before the surge on Firo. Probably nothing. But what you see here is basically a move off of Conflux over to Firo, possibly. But you see it come back and blah, blah, blah. This goes back down. Weird spike. That's what we're trying to hunt down. Then there's Zcash, which is seeing frequent choppy waves. Zcash shares an ASIC with other Equihash coins, but I wouldn't believe they leave the network to mine other coins. Yeah, probably not. Let's keep hunting. All is quiet on the Ergo platform front. We know there is FPGA miner for Erg not out in the wild yet, but it doesn't appear to be doing any damage. So there you go. Pretty solid right across the board. All is quiet on Xano's front. Xano uses a variant of PoW called PoW Z. We see a small amount of slippage, normally a farm turning on or off to get some kickback on utility pricing. And then we take a look at Horizon Global, which has an interesting spike. Check out the time frame for the Firo spike and Horizon spike. So you see 29th December 2021 at 1610. December 29th, 2021 at 1610. So you see basically the spike at the exact same time on Firo and Horizon. Weird, we should check out another Equihash coin. Here's Flux. It uses Equihash 125.4, a variant. And notice that very specific time again, 1610 PST. Network is normally 1.5 megahash, and it spikes to 4 megahash. So I think, so here's Flux. Yeah, so Flux. There you go. Okay, so let's check another Equihash coin, Pirate Train. What the heck? Again, at 1610. A spike to 273 gigahash. What's interesting is we don't see it in the same behavior in the Komodo platform. So Komodo, for those that don't know, we've talked about it previously. The Komodo platform is interesting because it makes it really easy to create a new coin kind of on the Equihash algorithm while still being able to secure your network, because Komodo will secure the network for you while the coin starts. So it's interesting that we didn't see a spike there. But if we zoom out, what happened on December 19th? So here's December 19th on Komodo, 318 megahash. So something did happen on Komodo. Okay, are we hunting a new machine, or is this a new mining farm spinning up? Aeon seems fine though. They're using a variant that doesn't fit into the existing hardware, so that's not surprising. Now, Ogata Girl took a look at Zur and YEC that share an Equihash variant as expected, nothing of note. Still, this is weird. One thing I love about minerstat.com is I can quickly check both pool hash rate and network hash rate. Luxor team is pulling in some serious hash, but it's not enough to count for the spike at 1610. Going back to the original hash rate we saw, it was Firo, which uses Firo proof of work, a variant of PoW. It's only mineable on GPUs, and then you have Pirate Chain, which is mineable on InnoSilicon ASICs and Antminer ASICs. We know InnoSilicon Miners has released their new fantasy GPUs, but a farm of those would account for a surge of hash rate on, wouldn't account for a surge of hash rate on all these smaller coins. Someone who's buying those to mine is going to be focused on another much larger coin. No offense to Firo or Pirate Chain. Let's take a look at the one last Equihash coin. Here's Tent, which uses a 144.5 variant. And what do you know? We see a tiny little spike at, you guessed it, 1610 up to 11 kilohash. It's not rental hash rate. It's not coming from NiceHash mining or mining rig rental. And spec mining these altcoins isn't really the strategy of a large scale mining operation. Let's go back and look at Cadena. I have a theory. Let's look at the snapshot from the last 60 days. We've got a spike of 1.4 exahash on December 2021 at 4 a.m. A spike of 1 exahash on 17th of December 2021 at 12 a.m. and a smaller spike on the 18th of December at 4 p.m. Let's see if these spike dates overlap with any other coin we are looking at. There's Tent at 31.9 kilohash a second. It normally sits around 10, but that isn't too scary. And then there's Pirate Chain with 61.9 gigahash a second swing on December 8th at 4 p.m. Pretty consistent spikes, actually. Horizon has virtually nothing except this large swing at 17 gigahash on the 29th of November. There's a little swing on the 9th of December, but it's not too noticeable. And then there was a hash rate swing on the 19th of December at 4 a.m. Recall the hash rate swing on the 18th of December at 4 p.m. on Cadena. So basically, Oh God, a Girl here says, I wonder if LOLMiner has an Equihash miner coming out that they're testing alongside Blake 2S miner. I wonder if LOLMiner has the out-of-the-box support for both. But this still doesn't account for what is happening with Firo. I am curious about minerstat.com bug, but that same behavior is pretty similar of a large speculative miner. To put that hash rate in perspective, 2.0 terahash a second on Firo is about 80,000 GPUs, assuming 35 megahash a second per GPU on average. We'd see that kind of GPU or FPGA power coming off another network, and there isn't enough GPUs on AWS, GCP, or Azure for open market to rent support that kind of hash rate. This could be an old farm powering back up, but it's weird it would head over to Firo and not Ethereum. So there you go. Now, Bits is also in on this conversation. And since he's in chat here, he said, has the spike been validated? Such an exceptional spike would be the equivalent of nearly 5 terahash of equivalent ETH performance, given the medium difference between Firo and ETH hash. I see no other networks lost that much hash, so it makes me wonder if there was a bug or a blip with the nodes. So there's a couple things that could be happening here, of course. The primary theory, at least from my understanding, is that there is a bug within MinerStat that showed these spikes. The oddity is, though, of course, that these spikes are shown on multiple coins, not only across different time periods, but also specifically there were the ones on the December 29th that were all spiking. More than likely, it feels like to me that it could be possibly just a bug within the system there, because if we saw that much hash rate, you would feel like even if we didn't see the farm moving off, if it's a new farm or an old farm spinning back up, we would see that farm come back on to the Ethereum network. That would be my assumption. Now, other things that could be going on, of course, is going to be the, speculative mining of large farms trying to test out, what's going to happen post-merge. Maybe they want to see if they could move an 80,000 GPU mining farm over to something like Firo. What would that spell out if they are testing that? Probably bad news, because they didn't stay on it, right? It's not like this is staying consistent. So if there is some large farm trying to speculative mine something in preparation for the merge to see if it's viable to move a significant amount of hash and remain profitable on one of these smaller cap coins, the answer would probably be no, because they didn't remain on those coins. Now, maybe they don't want anybody to see it. Maybe they just want to see how it performs and if it's stable or something along those lines, and then be like, okay, we know that this coin, and this coin are stable, and our farm runs at it for, you know, this amount of hash rate, and the difficulty when we move over spikes to this, and this is what we can expect. It's possible. Theoretically, though, they would probably be doing that on just paper, and they wouldn't actually be, you know, moving hardware over to it. I know that, like, we have heard of these large mining farms talking about moving to different networks. I believe some was on the BitBoy channel. I forget which miner it was. But they had just reinvested in a whole bunch of GPUs, and they said, well, what about when Ethereum moves to proof of stake or the merge? Funny thing is, they said they would move to mining something different like Polygon Matic, which I giggled at. Obviously, the mining company has PR people that need to do a little bit more research. I'd be very scared if that was my company, essentially, and I would be very disappointed in their response there personally, but I thought it was pretty funny. I'll try to find it for reference and add it down to the description below, because it was a pretty funny clip. What else could it be? Could we be seeing the testing of new miners on the network? You know, I think in the case of Cadena, it makes sense. We do have the new Cadena miners coming out. They're really expensive and really hard to get a hold of, obviously. I don't really know anybody that's gotten one, even some of the old ones. I know, like, I think Vosk had like a KD box, so he's lucky there. I know you can purchase the KD box in like bundles for like 14 grand on BT Miners, which has been a sponsor of the channel, so you can check those out as well. But I thought that this was super interesting. If you guys want to deep dive into it, I'll have it linked for you guys down in the description below and in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. Like I said, to me, it doesn't necessarily feel like it's viable. I feel like you would see, look, if you have just saying, like, if you have 5 terahash of Ethereum mining performance, why are you just going to turn it on, blip it on to a coin and blip it right off? And then why didn't the Ethereum move on? My allergies are absolutely terrible, so I'm trying to hold back sneezes and like all that stuff. So bear with me as I try to hold it back. I may not be able to, but it's causing the little weird like stuff going on. We have like crazy mountain cedar right now. So there you go. I can't believe the KD box is selling for $9,000 on resellers. Neither can I. It is absolutely insane. Let's go ahead and talk about mining profitability for the week. So here's my pool, or my farm. I did get it up to 5.5 gigahash a second, which I'm super excited about. Primarily because we reconfigured some rigs. It's showing 5.48 right now. One of the issues that I'm having is we are now at the point of needing to upgrade ventilation, which I'll be getting to work on in January before we start really upgrading any more rigs, because we're kind of getting to the point to where literally if I get like, so it has a big bay door, and if I open the bay door up and like throw a couple of those Home Depot fans there and like pull in some extra air, we actually like increase hash rate by like the hundreds at this point, because everything's just starting to get a little too hot. But that being said, I'm pretty happy with everything that's been getting set up. Now this one we're going to rename the light hash rate rig. It has a 3070 Ti, two 3080 Ti's, and two 3060s in there. We are going to be, I think, upgrading this to the new LOLMiner and then testing out that today, hopefully. So stay tuned for that. And then the other rig that we got up and running was not this one. I'm silly. Where is it? Boom. All right. So yesterday we got this rig up and running. It is basically going to be 6 6600s, 260, I think 1, 2, 3, 4 6600 XTs, a 6700 XT, and an RX 6800. I'm having issues with this 6800. It needs to be refurbished. Basically, it should be at 60 megahash a second, but for whatever reason, I think it's throttling on the memory modules. Everything else is kind of running within spec. Even the 6700 XT could be a little bit higher, but we haven't really tuned everything in. I also have this one 6600 that is performing pretty poorly as well, but we did get it up and running, and that was what we were working on last night, so I'm pretty excited about it. On the pool, we're showing an average 24-hour effective of 5.25 gigahash a second. That should be going up. The current effective is showing 5.16 gigahash a second. It was showing like 6 gigahash a second for a while, which was cool, but I think that's because rigs were getting moved on and off, essentially. And with that, we have moved up our estimated earnings daily to $314. We were under $300 a day for a while, which was a little disappointing. Let's see how that's actually interpreting in what to mine here. So if we go over to what to mine, as always, we like to check out the 3090 first at 10 cents a kilowatt hour, which is the default for what to mine. We are under $6 a day per RTX 3090 at $5.69 a day on Ethereum. Flux coming in second at $4.40 a day, and Ravencoin coming in third at $3.69 a day. Let's go ahead and check the 2080 Ti, which typically shows Flux in first. And once again, Flux is in first at $3.72 a day after power. And then ETH coming in second at $2.70 a day after power. And then Ravencoin coming in third at $2.51 a day after power. Now let's go ahead and check out the RX 6600 XT and calculate this out. Now, one of the things that's interesting is they do not have the Zel hash numbers correct, I believe. The 27.5. But we did do a review of the RX 6600. Check that out. That'll give you a better idea. It does show Flux in first for the 6000 series. I will be moving this rig over to Flux and then testing out and comparing it to ETH once we get some things dialed in. Obviously, I want to check out that new ton algorithm as well. So you do, though, on the default settings of what to mine, which is nice that they didn't have the Flux number in previously, so it looks like they have fixed that. But Ethereum's in first at $1.65 a day after power, and Flux in second with $1.27 a day after power, and Ravencoin at $1.18 a day after power. Finally, for the old heads, we do have the RX 580s we can take a look at and calculate those out. Ethereum's still in first at $1.42 a day after power. Ravencoin in second with 84 cents a day after power. And then Firo in third at 83 cents a day after power. So there you go. Let's go ahead and take a look at the mining pool stats. Well, we already covered all of this today. We could do a quick look just for fun and see if we've seen any other additional spikes or drop-offs. We are seeing, it looks like a reduction in block time slightly on Ethereum. Let's go ahead and look at the Firo and see if that is remaining. Yeah, nothing crazy going on there. Ergo, nothing crazy right now. definitely need to use MinerStat at some point to do this, I think, because I like the charts better for the live show. So I think we'll be moving to that. Let's look at Ravencoin, though. Nothing there. Well, those bubble spikes. All right, let's look at mining pool profits for the day. For the last 90 days, Mining Pool Hub in first, Crazy Pool in second, and Ethermine in third. For the last 60 days, Mining Pool Hub in first with Crazy Pool in second and ZET in third. Last 30 days, Crazy Pool in first with Mining Pool Hub in second and ZET in third. Last 21 days, Mining Pool Hub in first with Ethermine in second and 2 miners in third. Last 14 days, we have Crazy Pool in first with Mining Pool Hub in second and Flex Pool in third. The last 7 days, we have Crazy Pool in first with Mining Pool Hub in second and 2 miners in third. For the last 3 days, we have Crazy Pool in first with Mining Pool Hub in second and Flex Pool in third. For the last day, we have Crazy Pool in first with Nano Pool in second and Mining Pool Hub in third. Now, for ASIC miners, we are looking at essentially the same that we saw yesterday as well. No huge changes with obviously the KD6 and the KD5. Technically the KD5 because the KD6 is not launched in first place. It's going to be hard pressed to pick any of those up, but you know it is there. We have the Innosilicon A11s, which actually aren't calculated. Well, okay, they did update them to 2100 megahash a second. So that's updated properly. Antminer L7s coming in third at $80 a day. And then the D7 in fourth, essentially. If that Ant Pool dash number is correct. Then you have the Gold Shell KD2, of course, still up there. I think the first Bitcoin miner that is profitable is the S19 XP. And then crazy enough, we have the Gold Shell HS3 Handshake miner coming in at $28 a day as well. We have the Handshake. We don't have the HS3. Which one is it that we have? We did a review of it. The HS box. So if you want to basically, which they don't have any for sale. What? They have some LT6s for sale, though. What? Hold on. Let's run some calculations. So it looks like Gold Shell has some LT6s in stock for $9,500. And those right now are doing $23.66 a day. That's over a year ROI. That's 401 days. So it looks like they've definitely upped their prices on those. But there you go. Coming soon. So you have to pre-order them right now. Is that right? Shipping date 7th to the 17th. And oh, it's sold out anyways. But there you go. I feel like $9,500 is pretty steep though still. Oh, let's see. So yeah, the HS box. They don't even have the HS box on here. That's only showing 50 gigahash. I think the HS box was 235 gigahash. anyways. So BT Miners right now does have a couple deals. They have the KD box for combo deal starting at $14,000. Use the affiliate link if you guys want to go purchase anything. I believe the one that we found was the quickest ROI was the Antminer D7 with the KD box. We'll just recalculate that out again. So KD box. Okay, they do list it like that. Is 1851 a day plus the D7, which was actually doing really good, I thought. It's with the D7, right? Yeah. Is at 61 a day. That's $80 a day essentially. I believe it's 20 grand, so I think it's dropped. Yeah, that's going to be a 250-day ROI. I think that's still the quickest ROI available on BT Miners right now. So there you go. That's kind of that. Let's go ahead and hop into questions, and then we will discuss, obviously, all the new findings today. Basically, I feel like we found out a lot of stuff that I got to go do a lot of research on. So that's where I'm sitting. Oh, and I am sitting for sure. So let's go ahead and obviously, like always, going ahead and putting in the my lower back, that hurt. Putting in the super chat gets priority, and then tagging at Son of a Tech is the rest of everything. So there we go. Let's go ahead and hop into it. Detroit Irish says, at Son of a Tech, Firo spike related to the 40 series miner that popped up a few weeks ago, perhaps? Doubtful. Because we're talking about 80,000 GPUs. Unless, like, literally the 40 series miner is... I mean, it wasn't even close to that. Professor says video is grainy. I'll take a look later and see if there's something we can do. Maybe we just have bad internet connection today. Tactics says, as Son of a Tech, can you please make a video about how motherboard mapping GPUs works? I take a GPU off an A card rig and put a different card back on, and it's not recognized by the system. You know, that could be more than likely not the motherboard. So that would be the GPU, I would assume, or power delivery to that GPU. Raven Boy Crypto says, ask Son of a Tech, is there a correlation on price? Do you think they are trying to algo switch for most profitable at the current time? I don't think with that much hash that you'd be, I don't think that you would be basically moving that much hash for profit switching, especially considering like all the protocols put into mining pools to prevent that. But I mean, if they have their own nodes, that might be different too. And with that much hash rate, you probably do have your own node. All right. Adam says, what are you talking about in regards to proof of stake networks? Well, we were just talking about Ton, which is mineable and proof of stake. Raven Boy Crypto said again, you got to get the HEPA air filters. We have those in. It's just I'm just dying today with allergies. Billy Bob says, at Son of a Tech, I bought a kit for very cheap. It's outdated and I got a 1030. Not caring about profitability right now. Is any decent coins you should start mining? There's going to be very few coins that you can mine with a GT 1030. I'm trying to think right now. Does Flux work? I don't even think does Flux work? I think Flux might work. I'll have to break. I have a 1030. I'll break it out and see what algos it works on. For fun. I'll add it to my list. Quinn Bali says, that son of a tech, have you had issues trying to use PCIe extension risers? I'm using 6 PCIe B550 motherboard, trying to get 2 more GPUs out, but MSI Afterburner won't see the extra cards. No, I don't use any extension risers. Well, I mean, like I use the risers, but not extensions. So I'll use like traditional by 4 risers, but I don't use the ones the cards that split them up. They seem to add quite a bit of trouble there. So I'm not a big fan of them. You know, I'd rather even just pay a price premium for a mining motherboard, especially right now. Like, so if you're going to buy like a cheap, so if you bought like a cheap motherboard, right, that had like, I don't know, like one of the Ryzen ones that has like 3 to 4 slots, and then you want to break that out or whatever, you're going to pay more to break the riser out. I mean, at a certain point, like $230 for a 12 GPU mining motherboard just makes more sense. Ooh. Plus the boot up and install is way easier. Commonplace says, at son of a tech, how do I get ADA, mine ETH and get paid in Nano and swap to ADA, or pay out in ETH and exchange directly to ADA or unminable? That's going to be up to you and like what your threshold level is for like, I guess essentially both like risk and fees, right? So obviously, like going to layer 1 ETH is going to be harder to swap out. If you're going to do that, you'd probably want to use a centralized exchange like crypto.com. Affiliate code in the description. But the thing about like crypto.com is that it is centralized, so you don't want a long-term store. But the other thing about it is if you get paid out on layer 1, you don't really want to be getting paid out on layer 1 outside of a centralized exchange and then trying to move it and swap to ADA, because you're going to be paying so much in fees. So if you're going to go from like layer 1 ETH to Cardano, you want to go ahead and like mine directly to crypto.com, make that swap, and then send that Cardano out from crypto.com. That'd kind of be my go-to. Now, obviously, getting paid out in Nano is going to reduce the fees. That being said, let's go ahead and take a look at this. Nano exchanges. Because I haven't looked at this in a while. They're on what? Binance, which you can't use a lot of the time depending on where you're at. Gate.io. Kraken. It looks like Nano's on crypto.com. So let me look at that. So you could do the same thing with Nano, and I think I can't even look. It looks like Nano's on crypto.com. Is what I'm showing. So in theory, what you could do is the same thing that you would do with the ETH. Just get the payouts, reduce the payout fees, get daily payouts to crypto.com, make those changes over. Of course, with a centralized exchange, especially crypto.com, they're going to report all of that. So you're going to have to report all that. Ideally, like, yeah. That's basically all I can really say as far as that goes, if that makes sense. Ideally, there are some other options that you could consider. It's a lot easier to just track one coin when you're mining. Dave has an interesting theory. What if Tesla is using global fleet to temporarily use the idle GPUs to mine? Ooh. I feel like he'd try to use Dogecoin. John Lemon says, I use splitters on some stuff, but I think they can add unreliability. They're also expensive. It's fine to have some around though. Yeah, I mean, like, it's one of those things. I try to reduce as much of that as possible. Like, even on the I don't even mess with like the 6-pin to SATA adapters anymore. Even if it's like a card that I know is going to be fine on it. Like, for example, like the RX 6600 build that I just did. Like, they're not going to pull too much if I use that adapter, but I still would rather just put a full dedicated 6-pin in. I spend a little more on the power supplies, obviously, but then I'm not having to like worry about my mining farm burning down while I'm sleeping. So, you know, there's that. At Tech, any experience with M.2 adapters for running GPUs from your M.2 ports? Yes. I believe there's a video, but it's very old. We could probably utilize a new video though for it. That's possible. And like, if you already have the motherboard, like, I get it. Definitely like consider doing that. Those make a little bit more sense because like, especially on like the Z690 platform, where a lot of those motherboards, was it Z690 or Z590? Z690 is the newest. Z590. Well, Z690 does it too. But the Z590, a lot of the motherboards started having like 3x16 PCI Express slots and then 4 M.2 slots. So let's say you upgraded to Z690 like I did. I have a Z590 motherboard just sitting around. I have 4 M.2 slots on it and 3 PCI Express 3.0 or by 16 slots on it. It may be worth it to go ahead and like try to use the M.2 converters and convert that motherboard basically into a 7 GPU mining motherboard. However, I haven't really tried that, but maybe we will try that for a video just because, you know, why not? And it seems cool. All right. So let's go ahead and see. At Tech, I want to CPU mine, but I have no idea where to start. Can you give me some starting points? I'm mining ETH already, so I understand mining a decent amount already. Well, it's still the same concept as far as the batch files, the way they work, all that sort of thing. The hard part about CPU mining is kind of, I guess, the hard part about GPU mining as well, which is finding which coins are where. It's a little bit more difficult to find coins that are profitable on CPUs because there seems to be right now, especially since a lot of people, here's the problem. Let's be honest. Content creators made videos about a coin that could not support the amount of hash rate that went onto it after those content creators, such as myself and others, made videos about the said coin. And this is a problem because now what we have is a huge market for, or we have a whole bunch of CPUs out there looking for networks to jump onto. So every new CPU mineable coin that comes out gets these crazy difficulty spikes, or will continue to get them as soon as anybody mentions if it's profitable or not, because it's not made for that amount of hash. The only network that can support that amount of hash is going to be Monero. But the problem with that is that Monero isn't as profitable as people would like. So you still run into that same problem. Maybe you're mining Monero and then that new coin comes out. Somebody says something, everybody moves over to it, and then it spikes, right? Like Raptorium's pretty much not profitable anymore at this point. And now we're going to have essentially all of that hash rate that was purchased for Raptorium is looking for other profitable CPU mineable coins. So that's really the difficult part about CPU mining. Other than that, like obviously there's like configuration, I guess, problems that people could have, but we've talked about them before. Things like as opposed to a GPU mining rig where you can just run like a single channel Memory stick, you really need to be in dual channel. There is more intricacies within the overclocking as far as undervolting and getting your clocks in set properly. So from a hardware perspective, there's a little bit more involved there, not to mention that you also can't put 8 CPUs in a single motherboard, so you have to have individual motherboards. And then if you do get into like what I was trying to do for a little bit here, and we didn't make any videos on it, I will be making a video on it, but mainly from a negative perspective. But putting like a Ryzen CPU with a bunch of GPUs and trying to like mine on the CPU, kind of double dip, and then mine with the GPUs as well, you basically, because of the way the software works and the mining that you're doing, like with the GPUs that also need to communicate with the CPU to send the information back and forth or whatever, your hash rate on those CPUs are significantly impacted, almost, cut in half on something like Raptorium. Monero works a little bit better, but of course, like I said, you're still kind of hurting yourself as far as like profitability on Monero. CPU mining, I feel like, and here's what I want it to be, right? I feel like CPU mining is like the ultimate distribution method that you would want to do because of the barrier to entry with purchasing a whole bunch. It would naturally just force everybody to spread out the power, and like you would go back to like that original white paper for Bitcoin, and it's like one CPU, one vote. You have a couple CPUs, but the problem is greed, right? So no matter what, like if a CPU mineable coin became super profitable, everybody would move all of that power over, right? So it's a weird one. It's a weird topic, CPU mining is, I think. All right. CT12L says, is there a concise list of GPU hash rates after the increased Ergo DAG size? No, not that I know of necessarily for Ergo. I have updated numbers for the 6600 and 3070 Ti on Ergo, but that's it so far. Me says, at Son of a Tech, for your ETH farming, are you getting payouts over layer 1? Yes, I'm getting payouts over layer 1 because I'm on Flex Pool right now. Tactics says, at Son of a Tech, about the motherboard. Once the motherboard maps the lanes for the GPUs, it seems stuck in that config. On first install, it took 8 GPUs. I changed things around and it's stuck on 7. I mean, like, honestly, like those basic troubleshooting steps are going to be the same no matter what, where you got to just keep plugging one in at a time, right? And then see which one is the faulty GPU. But like if you're having it stuck on 7, then and then you add the GPU and it doesn't detect that one, have you taken that GPU and plugged it into one of the working ones and see if 7 still works with the GPU that's not getting added on as the 8th? And then if that's the case and it does work and it's not the GPU, then the next troubleshooting step is to see if the riser is faulty. And then the next step after that is to see, if the motherboard is faulty. But like basically for the riser, seeing if it's faulty, you would take the riser that you adding onto the 8th GPU with and plug that into the 7th GPU and boot and see if it boots with the 7 GPUs. So these are like the basic, this is just a troubleshooting mindset that you, like as a miner, you're going to have to get into, right? And it's time consuming. I mean, last night I had built that rig, the RX 6600 rig. Everything looked good. I booted it up and it wouldn't go, right? It just wouldn't go. And I couldn't figure out exactly what was going on. I finally figured out that like the motherboard BIOS settings had been reset. So I had to like basically find a DVI cable to get in there or whatever. But then I just had to start adding one GPU at a time till I found the faulting GPU. And then it wasn't the riser, it wasn't the GPU, it wasn't the power delivery, it was, of all things, the USB cable that connected from the riser to the motherboard. It was the cable itself, because even the other little pin, so you have like 3 points of failure there. But the only way to figure that out is to narrow everything down and just keep narrowing it down until you finally get it. But, you know, I started yesterday on that rig at 6 p.m. and I didn't finish till like midnight. So sometimes that happens. Sometimes I build a rig in 2 hours and plug it all up and it boots and we're done. Sometimes that happens too. But it is what it is, you know. Wasminkle says, you got to get an HNT miner. Depending on how good your setup is, $1,000 hotspot can easily earn you double what a 3090 does daily. I still am supposed to get one. It hasn't come in. Actually, now technically have been told, well, I had ordered 2. None of those came in. And I've been told that I was going to get one shipped to me, but that's not, it doesn't seem to be happening either. So I have no idea. Tactics says, at Son of a Tech, I got 8 on the motherboard again. Okay, we already went over that. So Adam says, have you ever mined on a server? It's actually profitable on those old Xeons. Yeah, so I mean, like I have some, like I have a Dell 580 that we've done. And that is like something that you can do. Profitable is... yes, profitable. Super profitable is debatable, right? So there you go. We're going to wrap up the stream for today. Thanks everybody for being here. I have a vlog to get editing, so I will be getting that video edited. And then from there, tomorrow is the new year. So for the new year, I will be essentially trying to get out the updated how to mine Ethereum video. That video takes a long time. So bear with me. But you know, we got to do an updated how to mine Ethereum on Windows 11 video. That's what we need to do. And then trying to think if there's anything else. Just hit me up on Twitter if you guys have any questions. Definitely check out Rocket Chat to support the channel. Thanks for everybody's support. Make sure you guys go subscribe to Bitsby Trippin'. And all of that. HNT mining. Yeah, so I mean, I don't mind getting into HNT for the channel, right? Like, I definitely want one HNT miner for the channel. But if I don't think that I would actually, like, invest heavily into it. Who knows, though? I'd have to test further. And then we did get an 060. We got an 060, boys. That new Sapphire X060. So we got this GPU on order for testing. So I'm super excited. I paid way more than I wanted to. I believe I paid $599. But I got one. I got one on order for testing for the channel. That's what matters. My understanding is like 27 megahash a second, so not that good. The only other card I'm looking for testing right now is the RTX 2060 12 gigabyte variant. Well, and the 08 and the X080, but that one hasn't launched yet, or at least I haven't seen it anywhere. So if you guys find a 12 gigabyte variant of the 2060 for me, we need one for the channel. We also need to put all those rumors to rest that miners are buying them, because I still, every time I go look, it's like $850 for one of those and like $600 for an RTX 2060 Super or whatever, or $700. But it doesn't matter. I'm like, why would I would just buy the 2060 Super. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm.